All right, welcome to another episode of Building Tech Talk. And as always, we are joined with our resident experts. We have Scott Jenkins and Dr. Doug Brown. And today we have Jason Elvy with us from Q Construction Management. I got the name of the company correct?
That's spot on, yeah.
I nailed it. All right. Just wanted to have a chat with you today about all the challenges, I guess, going on with project management and developments trying to move ahead and what's happening in that space right now. Just to kind of kick us off, what's your day-to-day like? What do you do within the building industry to help get projects across the finish line?
Well, really at the moment, we're a construction management firm. So our area of expertise is multifamily, usually low-rise wood frame apartment buildings, condo developments and mixed-use developments. We're also heavily involved in tenant improvements and renovations. So really, we're in a wonderful spot because all of our projects come via our personal or professional relationships. So really, the challenges we're seeing is maybe with the permitting process and the time it takes to get permits across the line, because the industry is so buoyant, which is wonderful. But again, we're also having to deal with supply chain issues, products that may have been, a term off the shelf are now, several weeks, even months away.
And so by buoyant, you mean the building industry is quite active right now?
It's blown up, to coin a North American phrase. Yeah. So, we've come off quite an interesting few years, where you've almost had to scratch and claw for opportunities, and now we're almost politely declining opportunities because we're at capacity and we won't be able to service those clients.
Someone that Jason and I know, a single family builder, recently told us, we can sell everything we can build right now, but we can't build everything we can sell. So they're also turning down opportunities. Crazy, considering where things were maybe just a few years ago, how quickly things have turned.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
And so what are some examples of what you're talking about as far as things that normally wouldn't have been a big deal for a project and that are now extending timelines because you can't get them?
Yeah, well, for us immediately it's engineered wood or engineered materials, because we are in the wood frame area of the industry. So that's a big ticket item for us.
So trusses, joists, blue lamb,
exactly,
beautiful stuff.
Yeah. Anything kind of timber related. It became a commodity. So that's been a big concern for us. But we're seeing prices coming back in line, or at least reducing a little bit, because the supply chain is getting better. Things like electrical transformers for projects, they used to be maybe a 12-week lead time. We're now seeing up to 60 months. That's 60 months.
5 years.
Wow.
What?
Yeah. Sorry, 60 weeks.
60 weeks.
Yeah.
60 weeks. Still.
Yeah.
Still.
Crazy.
It's a
But
factor
that's
of
it.
5. It's 5 times longer.
Yeah.
Well, that's it, because if we have
It's the first time I was speechless on Building Tech
I think that is a record.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well done.
sorry about that.
Yeah.
So we've got, if we have a client, a developer that comes to us and they've got a set of DP drawings, or they're trying to get building permit, if they haven't ordered the transformer and they think they're starting in 3 months, they've got another thing coming.
Wow.
It's another year that they've got to wait. Anything such as cast iron piping and fittings for building mechanical systems, they're long lead items as well. So that's that's another area of the supply chain that we've really got to look at. PVC, plastics, PVC pipes and fittings and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of concerns around the supply chain that we have to deal with, in addition to the other day-to-day construction.
Now,
needs.
Jason, obviously Q Construction has a absolutely fantastic reputation in Alberta, and
Thank you.
You have you guys are well known for quality products, delivering on time, on budget, schedule for clients that you've had long working relationships with. So here's the question, I guess the setup a little bit is, have you considered kind of economics 101 when the supply gets constrained? Do you look at alternatives? Because you and your partners have built a wonderful business model. Do you just, as you mentioned earlier, politely decline projects, or do you see what else is out there and start to consider alternative materials, technologies, other things that may help alleviate some of these issues?
Well, yes, of course, and regardless of the supply chain at that particular time, we're always looking for innovative options for our clientele. For instance, prefabrication is a big trending item at the moment, or process, because of the supply chain concerns with conventional or standard materials. So yes, it's a matter of educating clients of what's available out there, and hopefully those developers or our clients will take the leap and use a product that may not be run of the mill and what's been used for decades.
Right.
Jason, do you think we're going to return to normal here with the supply chains anytime soon? And is there a new normal that we may now experience with sort of permanent shifts in some of the chains? I'd be interested in getting your opinion on that.
How long's a piece of string? I wish I had the answer for you, Doug, but unfortunately I don't. It's an issue that we've had for several years. So the longer that we had those issues, the longer it takes to return. So yes, of course, we had, dare I say it, the recession in Alberta, and then that flowed straight into the pandemic. And now, piggyback that with the unrest in Ukraine. It's almost like the perfect storm. But as I mentioned before, the industry with timber is starting to come back into maybe what we call the new normal. But yeah, I really wish I had an answer for you, but I'd be clutching at straws, to be honest. Yeah.
So no light at the end of the tunnel from Jason today. Unfortunately,
well, there's always
we're having a hard time pinning him down.
I want to go back to something you mentioned a little bit earlier about the permitting process, because one of the things that a lot of people are saying, we need more housing in Canada and the US. Really, like there's a housing crunch. And the prices are skyrocketing as a result, pricing people out of the market. Rising interest rates making it difficult. So a lot of people are saying, we need a solution for that. And you were mentioning that the permitting process is causing some delays right now. Can you expand on that, like where that's happening for your clients?
Well, once again, it's a flow-on effect from the pandemic. Everyone started working from home, or companies got shut down, and that was more in the public sector. So again, it's resources. It's a lack of professional resources. There's a lot of people out there looking for work, but they may not have the expertise required, to expedite the process. So really, what used to be maybe a 3-month process to achieve building permit after you receive your development permit is now taking up to 6 or even 12 months.
And that's just so you can start your project.
Exactly. That's just so you can put a shovel in the ground and start building. Yeah.
Well, and in Canada, that must cause issues. It's not like we have wonderful 20 degrees Celsius weather 12 months out of the year.
Yeah.
So when you got to get the shovel in the ground, and you got to worry about foundations and boarding. Your budgets can move?
Yeah.
Do you sometimes then, even if the building permit's delayed and you're maybe going into a winter season, say, okay, we're going to now hold off till the spring to do the initial site work?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because otherwise, you're encountering winter conditions, heating and hoarding, and depending on the size of the project. For instance, with a new multi-family project of ours, that could be $150,000-$200,000 increase.
Wow.
So yeah,
and so now your 1-year delay for your permit is now turning into a 1.5 years because you've lost your building season.
Yeah, that's exactly right. If you don't get in the ground, particularly in Calgary, if we don't get in the ground by middle of October, it's usually pushed out to a spring start. Yep.
And I wonder if some of the material shortages have crossed over into I mean, you guys mostly work with Alberta projects, but there was a real issue in BC where they were unable to get concrete. They were unable to get asphalt for, even to get the roads into the developments in order to start building them. Has that sorted itself out, or was that ever an issue for your Alberta projects?
Yeah, it hasn't really been too much of a concern for us here. We do operate in BC as well. We've got a foothold in the Okanagan now. We've just started a townhome development in Peachland. So yes, we are seeing challenges over there, but really, to be honest, Alberta and BC, with our area of the industry, we've got similar challenges. I do know that Alberta is actually trending up, and BC may be halting a few projects because of the supply chain, the cost of product, and also the price of land. Because the Okanagan is, as we all know, the Okanagan is just going through the roof.
Yeah, we were told the Okanagan land prices have doubled in 4 years.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane, and it's just because of the work-live situation now off the back of the pandemic, and people's I suppose their reset in their mind of their work-live situation. It's the Okanagan it's a huge purple patch.
And I can understand this, a bit of shout out to, tourism Okanagan. It's Canada's wine region. You got beautiful lakes. The weather is, by Canadian standards, quite warm. So for those watching out of the U.S., it's one of the most beautiful parts of Canada.
Yeah.
And
Extra couple of months golfing.
Couple months golfing, and a lot of people have relocated there from Vancouver, BC, or Calgary, Alberta, or second homes. Yeah, they definitely want to be out there.
Yeah.
So to kind of complete the challenges you guys are looking at right now is also, I mean, we've been talking about this a lot, is labor shortage, skilled labor. So now we've talked about, whether you can get the materials to build with, whether you can get permission to build. And now, do you have the people that you need in order to get the project done?
Yeah. That's a big ticket item as well, because we lost a lot of the specialists or the skilled trades and labor to find work a few years ago. And now, and we also lost a lot of the temporary foreign workers that are skilled trades and labor as well. So now we're trying to acquire them back into the region so that we can build. I suppose we can look at the ski fields, right? When you go up to the ski fields these days, you don't get all the accents such as mine that you used to hear because everyone went home.
Yours will be Trinidad and Tobago. That's right. Did I get that?
Just south of Texas.
That's right. Just south of Texas. Yes. Well, I love hearing the Aussie accent. To add to the labor question, though, we were just talking about you're doing a project, Q Construction doing a project in Peachland, townhome project. I imagine some people live there, some people have second homes, but that's a very small community. It's British Columbia, so getting labor there, I would imagine, even more difficult a little bit in construction labor, or not too bad.
It is, but what we found is a lot of people moved into the region.
Okay,
and what we found is a lot of Albertan sub-trades or companies have set up in the Okanagan as well, or Columbia Valley, and all those hot spots, because they can see the business opportunity. We're also very lucky that a lot of our trusted trades and groups that we've worked with for several years, they're happy to travel out there as well if they don't already have a foothold in the market. So they're almost using our projects
to launch a little.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. So when we're talking about all these challenges that come up that you're facing right now, is there, when you get a new project coming in the door, somebody wants to build or wants to have you manage their project, how does it change now? What are you saying to them to get a good start in order to at least not be behind the eight ball as much as they might be?
Well, we're lucky because we get involved on our projects at a really early stage. Most of the time during conceptual design stage, and we can provide that development management and pre-construction support. So we're kind of, we're jumping those hurdles throughout the process, the development process leading up into construction. Of course, there's going to be areas that we can't control, but wherever we can, we're controlling them. And for instance, those long lead items, we're letting the client know if you're process or your schedule is to start building in spring of 2023, we need to be ordering those long lead items right now.
And is there confidence then that those will get there on time, or are you seeing those delays extend, or is it kind of at a good baseline now? You have a pretty good idea.
Yeah,
what's gonna happen?
I think the hope is that it will the timelines will improve. I think, Doug, you asked that question, but yeah, I'd like to think that they will, because we went from really no manufacturing, no supply for quite some time, to then the US kind of got the jump on Canada and they started building and they exploded. So, the supply and demand went through the roof, and then we kind of caught up. So now all of those suppliers and those manufacturers, they're getting back to, or they're at 100% capacity again, with their facilities. So yes, we'd like to think that there will be an ease in those long lead items. Yeah.
Well, I think that's for Q. You guys have been in business for a while. You have the relationships. You can probably also trade on some of those relationships and expertise. You mentioned you get involved in the projects very early on. So
Yep.
You're advising your clients, okay, given the current situation with, the supply chain challenges, we need to, what would normally be step 5 was now going to be step 3, the transformer example.
Exactly.
And you're going to, so that they don't have those missteps along the way. And that's a big value proposition for your company.
Yeah.
And when it comes to, I'm going to again go back to something you mentioned that I thought was interesting, where you're talking about educating your developers and your clients. We work in a lot of the startup space with a lot of different companies that have new ideas, new products, new ways of building. With all the accelerators and startup, like Startup TNT and Foresight and some organizations we're involved with. There's so many great ideas out there to hopefully address some of these issues that you guys are facing. But it really is that adoption stage. So if you could give advice to people in the startup world who have these ideas to help you or help your customers, what do you need in order to help educate your customers? Just
really support on the budgeting side of things is vital, because, for instance, with the ZS2 products, because we haven't necessarily built using your products, we need to know where your products are going to kind of start and finish, and what areas of other materials or labor is required for us to help with that budget. For instance, with the modular building side of things, of course it's the future of construction, but it's also understanding where the engineering of the modular side finishes and where we pick up with the conventional build.
So it's really that build cycle of really understanding where things can fit in and where their products can help.
Yeah, exactly.
And helping look at things apples to apples, truly.
Exactly.
Understanding rather than like, okay, I see this, but what is it really replacing?
That's right.
In a traditional build.
But really, with developers, I think they're clients are really starting to come around and understand that, if we look at other parts of the world, not unfortunately, but we're a little bit behind. And we need to catch up. There's a lot of outstanding products available to us, but because no one's ready to take that leap of faith, we're kind of being held back. So hopefully now, because of everything that's happened over the last few years, we're seeing a lot of our clientele starting to really look at prefabricated products or other options that are available to them to, number one, speed up construction and reduce waste. A big trending term for us right now is net zero building. More and more clients are asking for that net zero building, because I think by 2050, the Canadian government has wanted to reduce emissions to net zero by 2050. So that's another big ticket item for us too.
Right. And do you see those tools available right now in order to get there? You think that's doable, but you just need people to start adopting.
They've been available for decades.
Yeah.
But again, some people don't want to be the guinea pig.
Yeah, the first
right?
on the bus. Yeah,
so
there's an adoption curve, a natural
That's
adoption
right.
curve, and I think we're starting to see that adoption curve move. And then, historically, in any new technology introduced to a large industry, it does become that wave, and it quickly accelerates. And I do see that. I know from our own perspectives, rather than us trying to get in front of developers and builders, there's been a shift over the last 6 months where it's people coming to see us. Obviously, it helps in our world that we have the projects to demonstrate, so they know, to Jason's point, they're not the first person.
Yeah.
We've been fortunate to have some real avant-garde thinkers and clients in the US and in Canada who are starting to showcase, and I think that'll help accelerate things.
Yeah, and I think we, sometimes because we do get so busy, we lose sight of what our role in the industry is. We need to advocate for the industry. We need to advocate for technology and innovative materials or systems. So, we need to take a step back, see what's available, and keep promoting that.
And Jason, of the structures that your company is involved in, what percentage would you say would be net zero or have shown interest? And could you speak to maybe the premium, if there is one, with going to something like net zero?
Yeah, so really we're looking at around about 10%
okay.
of our projects that we're either in discussion or we've gone down the route of net zero. So there is a premium, like anything that's good in the world, whether it's healthy eating or food or a net zero building. Yes, there is a premium, but really the long term savings is that's where the developer or the client really sees the attractiveness of a net zero building, because yes, you pay that premium up front, but once they get into their facility, there's a much reduced operational costs and energy usage. So really a small investment up front is a huge gain in long term.
So does that mean you see the developers that are going to be the end user as well being the more likely to do the adoption of new technology?
Yeah, if they become the landlord of the facility, then usually that's they're the ones who will see the long term benefit. That's right.
Yeah, and we've definitely seen that, I think, ourselves here, particularly in Western Canada. In the US and some of the markets, where we're seeing a lot of traction, they're big cities where we're first cost competitive. But here it's more the long-term owners and it's the end users who are pushing for the more resilient, sustainable building methodologies.
All right. Well, I think we've kind of reached our time for this episode, but I really appreciate Jason, you coming in and filling us in on what you guys are facing as far as project goes, and hopefully how ourselves and other startups in the building space can start addressing some of those needs and get those supply chains running.
Yeah, this has been a great real-time construction update on behalf of Q Construction, Kent. We learned a lot today.
No, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure, guys.
All right. And as always, be sure to subscribe and like and share this episode. We are on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts, as well as YouTube. So we'll see you next time.